Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Time Mining. Today we're gonna discuss auto farming on Timefy VR. But before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Also, give some other tips, comment some other tips if you know on how to tackle every stage of VR to do auto farming. So, very quickly, because it is not that complex of a topic, what you want to do is that once you already have the Gosha Academy level up and you use the school field to get extra AP, no, not AP, the classroom to get extra BP, you want to farm once in the morning and once in the afternoon, or maybe just once in the morning, depending on what step you're farming. But you're gonna be using Shisui. There's other options. I mean, you could go with Emily, but I do not recommend that you go with Emily because you need very specific gear. So let's tackle Shisui first. You want Shisui on the main because you don't need to do anything if you have Power Engage. Power Engage is going to auto activate her skills, except for Natural Light, which is the healing skill. Which, yes, you need healing, but you don't need it because you're on VR and you can rely on other ways to heal yourself. So I personally prefer to go blue. I'm using Power Engage, Guardian's Flurry, and Guardian's Touchdown. This is to get defense, this is to deal damage, this is just to not need to do the attacks myself. And then this is the build. The build is going to change depending on who you're facing, but for example, you can use the big three, of course. You can also use Uraru, depending on what you have. You can use... who else? Oh yeah, Sakura. Sakura is a great option. Arabella, of course. But the most important one for auto farming is probably Akina, because you want ways to recover HP. You can do without her, depending on your strategy, but I do recommend having her. It's pretty good. So yeah, since I'm fighting Master Manning, I'm using Mido Haruka, but I could change that. The Magatamas are whatever, because obviously you want the best Magatamas available for you. I don't have anything that enhances specifically what I'm doing with her. Let's see, skills. Yeah, this is melee and this is melee. So I don't have... I think I'm using them with another character, so it doesn't matter. You can equip her good Magatamas or not. The only important thing is that you reduce enough damage and you're able to beat the stage on time. That's the only thing that really matters. Of course, the better the weapon, the less time you have to spend on VR, so try to enhance them. Also, I usually farm at stage 61, 70, depending on what I'm facing. But since we are doing auto farming, you can reduce that. For example, I auto farm on 41 or 50, 51, even 31. So you do want to reduce the difficulty because you're not going to be there avoiding the attack. And such you're going to leave the thing do the farming, okay? The AI do the farming. So there's plenty of options. You can go with your own strategies and just replace your main attacker with Shisui. That's one viable way of doing things. In my case, my strategy for this is to go with Murasaki Green to inflict slow, as well as Emily Red to inflict slow too, and the supporter to inflict slow. So yeah, a bunch of slow. That way I immobilize the enemy while I deal damage with Astaroth. But another benefit of doing this is that you get skill points. So maybe, if depending on your characters and if you already maxed them out or not. For example, my Shisui is already maxed out, as you can see, and my Lapis is not, because I recently got her. I mean, recently, like when she became F2P, but I haven't started maxing this out. So a good thing about doing these stages is that you get skill points. It is not a bunch. I mean, it's better to do dailies and farm with dailies or just skip tickets. That's great. But in this case, I'm going to put characters that allow me to get, that want to get skill points. Because of that, it is recommended to use either Lapis or Felicia, because you want the other characters to be able to restore their HP. While there are characters which can restore HP naturally, if it's with a parry, it is not the best idea, because if the enemy is not in front of them or they don't get hit, they're gonna stand there awkwardly, they don't recover HP, and they well, they're wasting time instead of dealing damage. So you don't want to use skills that heal you with a counter on VR. Instead, go. I would use full damage and no counter with Kurenai, and I would go with either Felicia or Lapis to provide HP to those characters. You want some amount of defense, of damage reduction, good levels, and also, I mean, any kind of strategy can work. In this case, I was using previously, what's the name? Yeah, Murasaki. I was using Murasaki instead, so I was at kind of pseudo slow along with Eleanor, and that's why I was using the red build along with these two. But since I constantly slow the enemy, that's fine. And she also constantly inflicts wet on the enemy. So yeah, these supporters are okay with this build. Also getting the benefit of ensnaring the enemy, that's great. Getting the benefit of the Magatama element, that's also good. So the characters that you put on the sub slot don't matter too much. The only thing that really matters is that you have a cohesive strategy and you replace your main attacker with Shisui and reduce the difficulty a little bit so that you're able to beat it without being there. That's the important thing about it. Okay? Again, the healer is a viable way. It's a really good way to get some, like, to not need to worry about the HP of those characters who cannot heal. Since Eleanor cannot heal, I decided to change my Murasaki for Lapis, and if she can heal, but only with Susune on the main, and that's not that reliable. So that's why I did this. I'm going to show you one run super quickly. Yeah, that's basically it. It's not that hard to do this kind of build. You can check any of my other videos regarding VR to know different strategies of how to beat every single boss, and I'll be sure to make a video about the new boss that we're gonna receive probably next week, if I'm not mistaken. We're gonna get a new, I think it's a demon. It's a jellyfish. I don't know what it is, but I guess it's a demon. I'm gonna do a video on how to beat that one when the time comes. And as you can see, I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting it do the thing by itself. It is risky when the enemy has skill cooldown increase. So 40 is kind of a sweet spot to auto farming, because there's low chance of there being this thing. Or well, maybe there's a chance, but also like the super armor is just enough for me to break it on time so that I can avoid getting hit and get my skills cooldown reduced. So yeah, that's another thing that you should think about. Depending on how much damage you can deal, you want to move between floors so that you go to something easy and simple. So yeah, this is just something that I wanted to talk about because it's a thing and many people do this. And it's also a very effective way to farm for I mean, it's not super effective, but it's a way to farm skill points with characters you don't use, and you're auto farming rather than using the facilities that you have to constantly exchange or well redeem the points. In this case, you just spend your points, get for example, I just use it to get more drops of crystals or UR beats nowadays. I do need those, so I decided to farm a little bit because right now we don't have a campaign for points, and I already have enough coins, arena coins. So if you don't have anything better to use your points on, you can farm skill points along with VR drop materials, and it is viable. Very quick. Woo! You see? You see? That's why we do this. That's why we do this. Even though I don't get coins. Yeah. Now, very quickly, just before we finish. In regards to Emily, because that's the other thing that you can do. You can use Emily. If you're gonna use Emily, there's two weapons that you need. Either this one that automatically evades, and you can equip the healing field so that you can recover HP, and you can just use zero system healing skill and homing bullets, and that's it. It auto farms. Or you can use the other one that automatically use the skills, which I didn't roll for. And in that case, let me check. No, in collection, weapon, Emily. This one I do have, but I didn't see. Okay. Because I'm leveling it up on the facility. That's why. So, with zero system, you automatically use the skills, except counter bomb, round slicer, and healing field, because those need an evade. So in that case, it is a good option to auto farm, but similar to what's the name? Similar to Shisui, you want to go with a tanky build, or maybe a blue build, because she heals with blue, so that you don't die if the enemy decides to go in front of you for whatever reason. That's why I prefer Shisui, because she gains defense and she's very tanky. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you find this useful. I hope you can auto farm easily, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!